We got this big story that's been trending today. I think there's like hundreds of thousands of tweets about Tucker Carlson saying this is being spied on by the Biden administration. There's reports coming out there like not even Fox News believes it. But I first of all, this is a huge story. But when you were talking, you were just talking about technology and giving up all of our security and everything. Tucker mentioned that a whistleblower contacted him and told them information about a story that could have only come from his texts or his emails. Wow. But think about that, right? We view using our cell phones as a convenience. We see our emails as a convenience, but it's also normal. And now we don't realize that we've given up some of our security in exchange for using text and email. Like we didn't realize that was an exploit that the NSA or our political rivals could use against us.
Yeah. I mean, I was on his show last night when he said this. And I mean, just knowing Tucker, he's obviously telling the truth. Tucker's not a person. He would never introduce anything on his show that it wasn't real research and he wasn't 100% confident in what he was saying. He's not just lingering something in front of someone's face. There's no effort to tantalize the public with what he's saying. And, you know, it's a big story, but it's also common sense, you know, especially with this government, right? This totalitarian regime of Biden, where we can't even say things that are true. You can't even tell the truth when you're censoring a lot of people for literally telling the truth of what happened to them, right?
I do kind of like something feels off about saying the totalitarian regime of Biden, because while I do recognize there's certainly a lot of authoritarianism, the going after the grannies from January 6th, giving credit for that to Biden seems
well, it's
wrong,
no. Well,
you know?
So when you say totalitarian regime of Biden, like, you know, he's the puppet. He's a puppet. He's just put there, right? He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, obviously, he's not the mastermind of the Biden regime. The Biden regime is just like
it's Jill.
Yeah, it's not even Jill. I mean, these people need to realize these people. For years, the people that became president are selected by oligarchs. You know, they decide who they want to be president. Obama was picked. You know, they had him run. They're in with the media. The media is just study propaganda. You don't recognize it when it's right in your face, right? Mainstream media is literally meant to control the way you think. I mean, it's called TV programming for a reason. It is programming your mind. You know, you can take that's not a conspiracy theory. You can take a basic marketing class and learn that, you know, like certain colors make you react a certain way. Music, you know, subliminal messaging in stores, buy it, you know.
We had Bannon on the show, and a lot of people in our audience were surprised at what Bannon was saying. Like he said, tax the rich. He's like, these people are ripping you off. We got to tax the rich. And people who watch this are like, whoa. The media said he was like far right. He was a fascist. He was a white supremacist. Sounds like an Occupy Wall Street guy.
Right.
Tax the rich.
Yeah, they believe everything. I mean, there are people that are so invested, and they. The funny part is they are the ones that call everybody Nazis, and they know so little about Nazis. They know so little about Germany. They don't even know what fascism is. They don't even know they are the fascists when they say censor it. They don't understand it because they're not meant to understand it, because there's been this sort of rinsing of history, and they just think everything they don't like is a Nazi, and they don't know actually what the Nazis are. And it's, you know, how did Hitler accomplish what he accomplished? Right? Because he controlled the media. He controlled the media. You couldn't say anything, and that's exactly what's happening. A glowing profile piece about Jill Biden, and people go, okay, well, why was Trump attacked? Because he wasn't in the establishment. The oligarchs didn't pick him, right? They didn't get into a meeting and say, we want our guy in the office. If they had, they would have said he was the best person. Like we saw about Obama. You could not find bad information on Obama, right? Because they control the media. And they control people's minds. And there are people that are walking around in America right now, and they genuinely believe that I am a black white supremacist. Like, they're that far deluded.
Like it's like a Dave Chappelle sketch. I love
it
that.
Is. And they believe it because that's what they're told every day by the media. They watch it. Oh, Candace Owens, she's just a black white supremacist. She just woke up one day and said, I want to help create a society that I can't live in.
Yeah.
That's
how can I help oppress myself?
It's the perfect example of cognitive dissonance. And how are we supposed to progress? How are we supposed to solve our problems when you have an entire faction that bases their worldview off of paradoxes? Like there are a bunch of like you being a black white supremacist. It's not a possible thing. It's like Clayton Bigsby was a joke. Yeah. They literally believe it. Yeah, they do. They literally believe it. The joke has become real life. Parody has now become real life, right? And you know, the first thing is it starts, I think, with taking power away from the education system. I am now a huge believer in homeschooling. And like, I know you were just showing me your mom does math videos. I'm a huge believer. Now, you know, there's a concerted effort to dumb children down in school. And I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about kids cannot do basic math equations. Yeah. And yet they're learning critical race theory. They're learning about emotions and how to just react without actually knowing why you're reacting. They know nothing about history, but love to throw out terms like Nazi and fascist. And they're just emotional babies.
And so this sort of blubbering of the American mind can only be reversed if you take your children out of the education system and go back to where this country began. Plymouth, when they landed in Plymouth Rock, it was a bunch of moms being like, I'll take Monday, you take Tuesday. It was homeschooling, and it was about community outreach organization. I definitively will not put my child through the public school system in America, and the private school system's questionable now too, because the federal government is overreaching. There's all these different requirements now, even if you want to homeschool, because Kanye, I was with him at the end of last year, and he wanted to start a homeschool thing, and he was talking to me about all of the roadblocks in California to prevent that from happening, because the government wants your children. They want to make sure your children are dumb.
Think about what's going on with all the critical race theory stuff, these school board battles. Mm-hmm. Then you have, at the same time, one of Trump's campaign promises in 2020 was school choice. We see a big push from conservatives about parents having the right to choose where their kids will go to school, maybe a voucher program. And the Democrats say it's racist to do that. No, you can't allow that, because then the rich people are going to do this, that, or otherwise. Then we see what they're doing. This is the trick that the left is doing right now with critical race theory. They're saying no one is teaching critical race theory because no one is showing the book White Fragility, which is critical white studies. Nobody is reading Kimberly Crenshaw. You're all mistaken. What they're doing is they're applying critical race theory into everything else. Yeah. Then they're indoctrinating kids with psychotic nonsense. And then when the parents complain, what just happened? We saw this in Loudoun County. They arrested one guy because he was just standing there saying, I want to speak. And they were like, the event's over. You're not allowed. Yeah. And he's like, well, I was told I was allowed to speak. And then they arrest him. No, he didn't get arrested. I think he got detained and received a summons. So I think that's technically an arrest. One guy got into a fight. Yeah. But this battle's going to be big,
Yeah, but it's also like I'm always amazed when I go around and I, speak on stage. And the number one question I get is, what can we do? What can we do? It's like, it's your children, and they're being preyed upon by predators. It's like going around and have people ask me, hey, Candace, like, I went to the playground today and a man showed my child pornography. What should I do? It's like, what? That's literally what's happening in schools. They're showing children pornography, and parents are like, I called the administration. What do you mean you called the administration? Call the cops. Like, teachers are not immune from pressing charges against teachers for doing crazy things. Yeah. And if you're telling me that if you took your kid to the playground and a random stranger, because that's what these teachers are, they're random strangers, right? They're random strangers that have gone through the radical education system. They're also the dumbest people, by the way. People that get education degrees. It's fascinating. Thomas Sowell has a book called Inside the Education System, the Lies, the Dogma, and the Indoctrination. And he talks about how, in terms of like their placements in their universities, the dumbest are people that get education degrees, which is really fascinating, right? And so you're getting these people that are not the brightest, but are convinced of their own intelligence because they're being handed these degrees and accolades, and they go to teach. Like, think about the kids you went to school with. Like, people that became teachers, they were really nice. Like, for at least in high school, like, they were the nice kids, but they were not the brightest in our school. Like, they were like the C- kids. They went on to become teachers, and they should. Like, great, we need teachers. I support teachers. I love teachers, but they are convinced of their own education, and whatever they're told to teach, they teach, right? And I know I'm painting a broad brush here, but so they go in, they teach your kids all this stuff. You don't know them, they're strangers, and yet you're too fearful to remove your child from what has obviously now become a predatorial situation, right? You're preying on kids. You're teaching them race. You're teaching them how to hate one another. You're separating kids and saying, why are you embarrassed about your white privilege? It's actually happening in New York school. Like, go around the room and talk about why you should feel guilty for being white. Your children are being attacked. That's a predator. Remove them. You're a parent. Forget it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.